A terrible act of vandalism targeted the world-class Detroit Golf Club.
That's right. Someone snuck onto the course and damaged the 11th and 12th holes.
It's all happening just months before the PGA Tour comes to town for the Rocket
Golf course in Suffolk County. More than $100,000 in damage. Look at that.
And officers are calling it deliberate. 4 greens torn up with some sort of blunt object.
It happened last month at the Crab Meadow Golf Course in the village of Northport. The course now just talking about
Bros Golf Show, back again. I'm Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
Torn up greens have become quite the thing this year. And, you know, really over the last few years, you're seeing these pop up quite a bit. Every time I see it, it's pretty damn infuriating that I get it. You know, the people, you know, on one side, I'm going to give credence to one side, but then, you know, to kind of tear that down. You have people that say golf is wasteful, using up resources, land that could be utilized for other things. I would say if you're saying, oh, it could be a park or whatever else, you know, there's a number of different abandoned buildings out there that could be repurposed for housing or whatever purpose, or, you know, that you see fit. And that golf is an exercise and a recreational activity. You know, over the years, it's become a lot more sustainable in terms of the use of water and just different techniques that courses use to conserve. And it's not all just about waste and haste. So, you know, I get it. But a lot of these stories tend to be around just people being assholes and tearing up other people's property and not really making statements. And it's not like you see people saying, oh, we're responsible for this. This is why we did it. You're left to assume, but, you know, you'll see, I think it was just a few weeks ago, there was a video of somewhere, I think it was in Florida, kids riding dirt bikes on a green. And you look at the cost to repair some of these properties. I went through a few videos. There was one course that spent about $125,000, and, you know, some of it was out of pocket. I think it was Suffolk, New Jersey. $125,000. Some was covered by insurance, but that's crazy. And the time that it takes for these greens to be repaired, resodded, and, you know, members or, you know, people playing on temporary greens, it just pisses me off every time I see that. What what do you think should be the penalty outside of course, what's the cruel and unusual punishment for tearing up a green?
It's vandalism first off. Then you're essentially stealing property because you're kicking up these greens. You're taking away from the play, essentially shutting down money. It's just, honestly, if people want to play like that, and if the footage covers it, and listen, if they need to be put behind bars, then that's what needs to be happening, because it's just ridiculous. And that's not even just coming from a golfer. That's coming from somebody that doesn't even have any property to own as far as that. And the disrespect is just insane. Like, I don't think there's a place for it, despite how you want to protest. I don't know. I feel like this is one of those situations where it's just going to be me cursing a lot, and I don't want that. I just don't think it's any place in golf.
It really isn't. It is to a certain degree property theft, right? It's really is. You feel violated when that happens, and unfortunately, there's not ways to fence in courses. I think about a lot of, you know, courses that that kind of trace through neighborhoods, and that you can just walk in off the street and, you know, go do something stupid like this. Yeah, and maybe it just requires, you know, surveillance cut footage on every hole, on every course, that if somebody does do something stupid, you can at least have some footage of it, because you don't hear a lot of people getting caught and punished and put in jail, or, you know, whatever the proper punishment and legal recourse there would be for an incident like this, unfortunately. So that's the downside of it. So it happened to, you know, the Jim Furyk and Friends tournament on the PGA Tour Champions this week. A couple of days before the tournament kicked off, they were actually heading into the Pro-Am day, and 4 of the greens were torn up, and, you know, they had some help from, it looks like TPC Sawgrass, getting these back in shape. So thankfully, you know, they had the resources, and I want to play the video, quick little minute and a half chunk of footage from them, yeah, from the Instagram page here. So I'm gonna pull this up. Let me know if it is
5:15. By the time we got out here, I mean, there was a plan in place. Alan Brown's our superintendent here at Timuquana. He and his staff do an amazing job. This golf course is in perfect shape. They had a plan. I mean, they already knew what they were doing. They called in some favors. They had the agronomy team at TPC and the PGA Tour. But at the end of the day, we're gonna have an amazing tournament. Golf course is in great shape. It's gonna have a very minimal effect on the golf course and the playability of it. And that's really due to the great work of Alan and his staff and the folks that he partnered with. So
we're removing our old stuff where it was messed up.
this,
Cut
and
it out
like
with our
hole
plugger
cutting
here.
always fascinates me, how they're able to get these
Right.
looking
Remove
really
that,
good.
we'll
And then they
level
just put some water
Pull
down
out.
and put a little roller down.
Then
and
one of the most
make sure it
important
all
things is you
smooths
gotta
out
line
and
up your
stuff like
grain.
that.
Otherwise, whenever you cut it with the mower, it'll scalp. Try to get it as close to level.
Even paying attention to grain.
We like to pull our seams up. That way, whenever we come through with the tamp, that'll tie in nice and tight. That way the ball rolls nicely over it. And these guys will put a little green camo sand.
This was the magic,
Help
because
kinda
I was like,
blend it
okay, that
into the
patch looks okay, but
Existing green.
then when they put down this stuff and then water it in, you're like, okay, this is,
Then we'll put a little water
that's
on it.
talent to me. That's just nuts.
Let it be.
So
Yeah, it's insane.
A-holes weren't able to fully prevail, and they were able to, you know, of course, have a successful event this week. It's just unfortunate that, you know, we live in a day and time where things are just, I don't know, it's different, and these incidents keep coming up more frequently, and you know, are no less frustrating each time you see it. Just people not respectful of other people's property. You don't have to go to measures like that.